I am an English teacher. I am an English teacher with the Sandwich Institute. And this morning, for about half an hour, 40 minutes, I wanted to speak with you about some lessons that I have learned as an English teacher working with business professionals. Before I, however, speak with you about some of those lessons, I wanted to introduce myself. So you might hear from my accent that I am not a native Italian. You probably know that already. In fact, I am from America. Specifically, I am from Chicago, actually a little city north of Chicago, about 3 hours. However, I lived in Chicago for about 13 years. I went to college there, or university, as you say in Europe. Also in Chicago, I worked as an actor, and I work as an actor as well here in Italy. Uh, so, why do I say this? I say this because as an actor, both on film and in the theater, communication is our primary concern. If people don't understand what we are trying to convey, we are not doing our jobs. So when I moved here to Italy, um, I moved here for love. My wife is Italian. that's that's one of the reasons I'm here. But when I moved here to Italy, like so many people who are transplants, uh, I found a job as an English teacher at the Sandwich Institute. And I found at the Sandwich Institute that so many of the lessons that we learn as actors are applicable to learning English and also to being a business professional. So, in the past 2.5 years that I've been living in Italy, I've worked with business professionals from all over the Veneto region. And there are certain themes, certain patterns that have come up over and over and over again when I work with people teaching them English. And so I wanted to speak about some of those today. Okay. Now, I know on this call, many of us have different English levels. That's okay. I want to say right now, like I do at the beginning of all of my lessons, that so much of communication has to do with, yes, your skill set and yes, your level, but also your interest in communicating. If you are interested in communicating, you will find a way. So I hope today this presentation will help you improve your English, yes, but also improve your listening skills. I know there's about 100 of us here. I'm used to doing this live, so this is the first time I've done this online. But if we were in a room, I would try to learn many of your names. But I just want to say thank you for being here. And let's get started. So you probably know this already. In fact, if you can understand this slide, you probably are thinking, yeah, Mitch, my name is Mitch. Yeah, Mitch, I know I am under unique pressures. I don't need you to tell me that. But I want to acknowledge it to let you know that you are not alone. And this is crucial. So many business professionals have to communicate with other business professionals on the phone, on these things, right? Your native English, your native language might not be English, and the person on the other end of the line of the phone might also not be a native English speaker, but you're both using English to communicate. That's weird. Okay, that's strange. And that's how it is. That's the business world. And it's difficult sometimes. Okay, so I just want you to know that everybody is in the same boat. Okay, there's a phrase in English, we are all in the same boat. We all share the same boat. We are all under unique pressures. Business people also have unique pressures because there's a professional environment. Maybe the person next to you is speaking really, really fast in their phone, and you're thinking, my English is not as good as this person's English. How am I going to perform well? Right? All of us want to do our jobs the best that we can. We feel good when we do a good job, and we want to do a good job. And sometimes that stresses us out, that makes us nervous about our English. If English was just a fun hobby you had, something you did outside of work, it might not make you nervous. But because English is part of your job, there may be a tendency to get nervous about it. Just remember the person on the other side of the phone, your colleague over here, maybe, they feel very similar. So you are not alone. Okay. Also, I say that from experience. I have worked with many, many business professionals teaching them English. Everybody is scared about it. So we can laugh a little bit about this unique challenge that's in front of us. It's also a challenge because of something else you probably know. English is the global business language. Some experts predict that within 100 years, most of the languages being spoken today, and there are thousands of languages, most of them will be gone within 100 years. And they will be replaced by about 600 roughly is the estimate of the languages that will remain, English being the primary tool for business communication. Even though more people in the world, there are more English speaker or Chinese speakers than English speakers, for business, English is what people are using. We can't get away from it. I also say that because sometimes when we don't like to do something, we hope it goes away. I'm like that. For example, right now in my bedroom, there is a lot of laundry, many clothes that have to be washed. They must be washed, my clothes. I don't want to wash them. I don't, but they're not going away. English is the same way. It's not going away when it comes to being a business language. So we have a choice, and that choice is, how do we want to feel about this? When I teach people English, more often than not, it's not the difficulty of the language that's the problem. It's their feelings about learning the language. I was just recently teaching a 16-year-old, 16, okay? She was still in high school. I was teaching her, and I was amazed at how quickly she was picking things up. And yes, I know some of you might think right now, well, teenage brains, Mitchell, teenage brains they can learn material more easily. And that's true, okay? That's true. However, her attitude was positive. She was there because she thought, yeah, I'll learn this. She didn't have opinions about the language. She just decided to learn it. Adults, you and I, and people older than us, business professionals have lots of opinions. In fact, that's why some of you are so successful because of your opinions. If you have a negative opinion about learning English, if you have negative feelings about learning English, it's going to be more difficult. I promise. So this may be something to look at before you decide to continue your English journey. Now, like I said, I'm an actor, and you can probably tell that already. Oh yeah, Mitch, we know you're an actor. We got that. So as an actor, I want to share with you some of the things that are helpful in the rehearsal room, have been helpful in acting, and are highly transferable to learning a language. Some lessons I have learned that I want to share with you. Speak slowly, listen, and ask for help. These three things are really difficult for business professionals to do. At least that's my experience. The business professionals I work with, they talk really fast and confidently. We go really fast, we talk really fast because I'm a business professional. I got and I can't understand what they're saying. They speak really quickly. Maybe in Italian too. Maybe you know somebody in your office who speaks Italian really quickly. Maybe you speak Italian really quickly. When you want to learn a new language, you have to take it slow. In fact, when you don't take it slow, we cannot understand you. Speaking slowly does not mean you are not smart, you are not powerful, you are not in control. But if you speak quickly when you're learning a language, no one can understand you, and all of a sudden you're talking like this, and I'm like, what is he saying? I don't know what he's saying. This is how people sound when they speak English very quickly. Speak slowly. Number 2, listen. But I thought I was here to learn English. Yes, absolutely. We will get to English today, I promise. We're going to look at compound words. We're going to look at phrasal verbs. We're going to do that. But when you are on the phone with somebody, it is more important that you hear what they're saying than you hear what you're thinking or that you speak. Say it again. When you are on the phone with somebody, it is more important that you understand what they say than what you are thinking or what you're saying. Do you know the game telephone? There is a game in English, probably in Italian too. It's called telephone. I tell somebody something, I whisper it in their ear, and then they tell somebody something, and then they tell somebody something, and we go around the circle until it returns to me. This game is so much fun to play with business professionals, people whose entire livelihood is communication, because when we sit in a circle, when the message returns to me, it's completely different. They tell me what they're saying, and I think that's not what I said at all. Because the people are more worried about speaking. I'm doing something. They're more worried about that than listening. Number 3, ask for help. If you don't understand, you have to ask for help. And I know someone's thinking right now, well, of course I'll ask for help. But again, think about your colleagues. Some of them might not ask for help, and you think, wow, I just wish they would ask questions. Asking questions is one of the best ways to improve your English, believe it or not. Let's move on. We discussed slow down. And then I wanted to talk about listening for a little bit more. So in the sandwich method, oftentimes we use call and response. Okay? I will tell somebody to ask me a question, and then they will ask me a question. Oftentimes, the words you are looking for are right in front of you. Let's take a look. So, here's an example. For example, right here, ask me if I have ever studied Chinese. Again, ask me if I have ever studied Chinese. You probably know the answer already. It's, have you ever studied Chinese? Ask me if I have bought a new computer. Have you ever bought a new computer? Ask me if I know anything about security. Do you know anything about security? Do you see a pattern? Ask me if I know anything about nanoscience. Do you know anything about nanoscience? Ask me the exchange rate for the euro. What is the exchange rate for the euro? Now, it's true, you need to know the structure of an English question. That's true. You need a question word, an auxiliary verb, a subject, a verb. Yes, true. However, when we are talking about comprehension, the words that you need are right there. Ask me where I can find a post office. Where can I find a post office? Ask me the time of the next train to Paris. When is the next train to Paris? Ask me the time of my flight to Istanbul. You try. Ask me the time of my flight to Istanbul. When is my flight to Istanbul? Many times Italians will tell me, my English would be better, Mitchell. My English would be better if I knew more vocabulary words. That's true. Everyone in the world would have better English if we all knew more vocabulary words. I propose that comprehension is less about the vocabulary words you know and maybe more about the listening skills. Many times, the answer to the question that you're looking for, the person on the other end of the phone has. You just need to listen to them. Okay? I think you get my point. So, and then I want to say one more thing about this. How it's okay to ask for help. I understand that this lesson so far has been a little touchy-feely. We say touchy-feely when someone's, talking about it's okay to ask for help and just listen to them. But I want to remind you, in the business world, sometimes it's not easy to ask for help because we're afraid. If I ask for help, I will look weak, I will look unsure, I will look incompetent. Actually, you just look professional. You look like you want to get it right. Don't worry about the people around you who are speaking English more quickly, who are using more vocabulary. Don't worry about them. If you need help, if you don't understand, excuse me, could you please repeat? I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. No one's actually on the phone. I'm pretending. I think you know I'm pretending. But hello, yes? I'm sorry. I don't understand. Please repeat. It's okay to say that as many times as you need to say that. Okay? Now, when it comes to learning, oftentimes it's important to set specific goals. Many of my students will come to me and say, Mitchell, my goal is to learn English. I want to improve my English. Again, everybody wants to improve their English, okay? Everyone wants to improve their English. It's not a very helpful goal because it's difficult to take action. If you get specific, then I can help you. Then your colleagues can help you. For example, I want to speak comfortably. I want to comfortably speak over the phone for at least 10 minutes in English. Okay. You want to be comfortable. It's about the phone, English, 10 minutes. We can do that. That's far more specific than I want to learn English. I want to learn and use 3 new phrasal verbs a week. I know, phrasal verbs are awful. We'll talk about phrasal verbs. I understand. But I want to learn and use 3 new phrasal verbs a week. Okay, that's something specific. You can take action on that. You can learn 3 new verbs a week and make sure to do that. If you say, I want to improve my English, where do you start? If you say, I want to use 3 new phrasal verbs a week, okay, you pick 3 new phrasal verbs, right? Or I want to improve the structure of my English sentences. This is a common one, right? Many times when we are speaking English, we're translating from the Italian, right? It's a direct translation from the Italian. And maybe we think, I hope that was right. I hope they understand. I hope the English is just like the Italian, and many times it is. However, if your goal is, I want to improve the structure of my English sentences, then you have something you can actually focus on. Okay? Next. So let's get into some actual language material now. English is a business language for many reasons. Obviously, a big reason has to do with Britain and the United States and the history of the language. But I propose English is also a business language, a very good business language, because when you don't understand a word or when you don't know the word, maybe you can't remember that vocabulary word for that specific thing. English uses compound words all the time. And this is one of my big tips for today. If you don't know the word, make it up. Create the word. I know that sounds crazy, but I'll show you. If you don't know one word, but you know other words that are related, that have connections, then your listener can understand you. Let's look at an example. So, for example, now some of these you may already know, okay? But let's take a look. Here, basket plus ball. What word is that? Basketball, right? Or in Italian, basket, I think. Pallacanestro, maybe. I don't know. My Italian is not the best, but that's for another time. Oh, I know it has a ball, and the ball goes into a basket, basketball. Oro, gold, fish, goldfish. Wow, what's the name of that cake? That cake right there. What is the name of it? It's a cake. C'è formaggio. Cheesecake. Cheesecake. Here's a good one. What is the name of that place, that little house where the birds live? Oh, birdhouse. What is the name of that ball that we make out of snow? Snowball. There are many of them. What is the name of the coat we wear in the rain? It's a rain coat. What is the name of the room with the bed in it? Bedroom. What is the name of the bell by the door? Doorbell. You probably already said it. What is the name of the chair with the wheels? That's right, wheelchair. What is the name of the glasses I wear in the sun? Sunglasses. What is the name of the tie I wear on my neck? Necktie. There are many, many more. In fact, I have a whole list of them here. And there's an incredibly long list of compound words that we won't look at today. But so many of these are words you might be able to create if you think about the words that are connected to them. Maybe you recognize some of these. What is the name of the person who fights fires? A firefighter. Okay? So, a lot of times, if you don't have the words, just search for the words around the thing you are thinking about. Many times, you will just be correct. Okay, where are we? Okay, here we are. So, I told you I would talk about phrasal verbs today. I know Italians hate phrasal verbs. Not all Italians, that's true. Not all Italians hate phrasal verbs, but many of phrasal verbs are annoying. Oh, they're so annoying. However, if you make the choice to learn a few, start with 3 phrasal verbs a week, over time, I promise you, your English will improve and they will become less scary. Living in another country, like I do, I live here in Italy. Living here was a very scary idea for me until I just started doing it. All of a sudden, once you're living in Italy, I mean, sometimes the traffic here is kind of scary, but and sometimes the cars on the road are a little scary. But generally speaking, the things we are scared of, we should actually do more of and not less of. I encourage you to use phrasal verbs instead of staying away from them. Let's take a look at a few phrasal verbs. Okay, where are we? So, excuse me. So I wanted to look at a few phrasal verbs and that might be valuable to you. We will not review all of these, but I also want to show you sometimes phrasal verbs just make sense. So this is a great phrasal verb to learn. Close down. To close down something is to close it permanently so that it stops doing business. To close down. What does close mean? Down. The business was here, now it is down. There is no more business for the day, maybe forever. However, we close the doors and the level of business has gone from here, to close down. I have another one for you that's very, very good. Get ahead. Maybe you are learning English in order to get ahead, to be successful in your work or your life. I want to learn English to get ahead. How do I remember get ahead? Get kind of sounds like go, doesn't it? Ahead, forward, avanti. I think so. So these little mental tricks suddenly help us remember phrasal verbs. It doesn't matter how smart or how stupid your trick for remembering a phrasal verb is. Get, get, or maybe to get ahead. I'm going to get the thing that is ahead of me. Sometimes with phrasal verbs, we just have to memorize them. I know it's annoying. However, what are the fun ways that you can find to remember phrasal verbs? Finding ways that are fun for you might change your attitude about learning them in the first place. Okay, just a couple more, and then wow, we have some time for questions. So if you have questions, you can email them in. All right. So now would be a good time to send in questions if you have some, as we're close to wrapping up. I want to remind you that this may be the most important slide in this presentation. I know English is difficult, and I know that you are probably not 18. If you're 18, you're probably in bed right now sleeping instead of working like the rest of us. Maybe you have an 18-year-old son or daughter who's asleep right now. You're like, I know, I'm not 18. But that is, I want to propose an excuse that might not help you. An excuse that might not help you. I'm not young anymore. Well, no one is who wants to learn English in the way you want to learn English. All right? Nobody's perfect. Not even native English speakers are perfect. Okay? And everybody needs practice. Now, I got a question here from someone who says, what are the main channels online where I can find some English learning lessons? Hearing teachers like me who speak English. I would like to revise my English during my way back home. That's a great question. And in fact, it's my next slide. I want to point out two in particular that are excellent. TED Talk and Netflix. Of course, many of you have probably gone on YouTube to look at videos that are in English. Of course, the Sandwich Institute. We teach people online. Finding a qualified teacher like myself or somebody else who's educated in the language. There's no substitute for a great teacher. And we have many at the Sandwich Institute. However, I said everybody needs practice. And even a few minutes a day over time can help your English. If you go to a website like TED.com, you will find many speeches by English speakers. In fact, they're all in English, TED.com. And they speak on a variety of subjects. One simple thing you can do, I recommend, I do this with all of my students. I assign them a TED video, a video at TED.com. And I say this, watch the video once without subtitles, once with English subtitles, once with Italian subtitles, and then watch it again without subtitles. So 4 times total, not 3, 4. It's amazing because the first time you watch the video, you might understand 40%, maybe less. Then the English subtitles come on, and all of the videos have English subtitles. With the English subtitles on, maybe you understand 60%. The Italian subtitles come on. Okay, now I understand everything. And I can make connections with the English I'm hearing and I previously read. Now, when I watch it the last time, I usually can understand between 80 and 100% of it. If you watch on Netflix a show, I don't care what show it is, if it's in English, really, I mean, don't tell me about it. There's a couple shows on Netflix I really don't like, but if you watch a show on Netflix, watch the English show with English subtitles. I know that's counterintuitive for a lot of people. Isn't it good enough to watch the English show with Italian subtitles? Well, yes, that will help. It's better than nothing. However, some of you are probably thinking, man, Mitchell's accent is hard to understand. I come from the Midwest in America, okay? I don't come from London. Someone in California sounds different than someone from Chicago, than someone from New York City. Okay? Just like sometimes in Italy, when I go down to other parts of Italy, I think that doesn't sound at all like the people who around my area. I know there's dialect here too, but even that being said, sometimes listening to English speakers, even if they speak slowly, can be difficult. That's why you put the English subtitles on, to make the connections. And finally, YouTube has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of resources. Another question, how can I improve my language skills during professional negotiations? What a great question. And I get this question a lot. I work with people who do negotiations. I also work with salespeople who have sometimes similar situations. One of the hardest things, in my experience, working with negotiators and working with salespeople, is to slow down. Remember that when you are in professional negotiations, yes, your language matters, but it's not like the train is coming and you gotta go, 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 go. Sometimes if you go slower, in fact, you are the one commanding the pace, commanding the room. I have business people who speak so fast, and I tell them, you're giving up all of the power. If you slow down, you're actually taking a lot of that power in the room, and you are helping set the pace for the negotiation. Now, when it also comes to professional negotiations, there may be specific vocabulary sets. Okay, remember what we said, ask questions if you don't understand anything. But two, treat the negotiation before you go in like an English class. You wouldn't go into an English class without doing your homework. Well, maybe some of you would. I don't know. Maybe you're thinking, I never do my homework. I was a bad student. Okay. But if you, maybe we have to work on that. But hear me out. If you, the night before, the week before, say, I'm going into a negotiation, I'm going to study the terms that may appear. You will feel more confident during that negotiation, even if those terms never pop up. I rate myself as advanced in English. What would you suggest me to take it to the next level quicker? Great. So for someone who is advanced in English, I have found that reading articles in publications like the New Yorker, the Atlantic, New York Times, we call these publications sometimes long form nonfiction because, for example, the New Yorker, which is my favorite magazine, the New Yorker publishes long form articles. I'm currently working with a very advanced student who she is in, not in Italy, but she's Italian. She's studying in another country. And with her, what's great is I assign her articles, thousands of words, and then we discuss them and I get into the details with her about the articles. And suddenly she's being challenged on her advanced English because oftentimes people who do rate themselves as advanced in English are very good at getting the general meaning. You're also very good at listening, I would say. Many advanced speakers are very, very great at hearing what's being said. They're not so great at saying, I don't understand this particular little phrase. So don't be afraid when you read the long form fiction or nonfiction and the articles and you discuss them with people afterwards. Don't be afraid to get very specific. I've never seen something phrased like this before. What does that mean? Again, you won't look stupid. You will not look stupid. In fact, it will be the opposite. People will appreciate the fact that you had the courage to ask a question. Okay. I don't know if there's any other questions. Of course, if you haven't gotten this already, I'm a very positive person. And I just wanted to remind you all that you got this. Now, you got this is a slang, it's a slang English term, okay? It means you can do it. I know it. Even showing up today, showing up to this, pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back means do this. Give yourself a compliment and some love and some appreciation, because showing up to study is usually the hardest thing. After that, it gets easier, I promise. But give yourself some appreciation for showing up. I think it's proof, it is evidence that you can do this. You got this. If there's no more questions, I just want to thank you today. Oh, we have one more. What is the best way to understand a businessman that speaks American English? What is the best way to understand a businessman who speaks American English? Ask questions about that person's background. Remember, Americans tend to be a little more personal. As you can see, I'm also an actor, but generally speaking, oftentimes in America, asking personal details, it's different than other parts of the country where that might be frowned upon. Oftentimes in America, we see our work as a crucial part of our identity. I noticed when I moved here to Italy, a lot of times I would ask people about what they did for work, and they would tell me, but quickly change subject, as if, well, that's what I do for work, but I'm not working right now, so I'm not going to talk about it. In America, we talk about work much more. We also talk about our personal lives sometimes at work. So I think if you're talking to an American businessman, start with some questions like, where are you from? Your accent, where is that from? They're really going to appreciate it. Non-native Italian speakers, so English speakers in America love being asked, where are you from? Where is your accent from? Oh, wow, what's it like there? I know that sounds like, well, but it's a business relationship. Why would I do that? We say that breaks the ice, actually. It paves the way. It loosens the room for a comfortable conversation moving forward. Hope that helps you. All right. Thank you all so much. I want to thank everybody for coming here today. I want to thank the Sandwich Institute for allowing me to give this presentation. Obviously, if you have any questions, contact the Sandwich Institute. I'm happy to help you. We're happy to help you. Stay healthy. Stay safe. You got this. Take care.